Pleasant morning to all the students of class plus 2C. As we have completed this poem, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, yesterday only in the 6th period, and many students were not there as they think that attending 2 periods is difficult for them of the same subject. So we'll be just revising the concept of this poem, the theme of this poem, fine, the content of this poem, fine, and then after that we'll be moving next to our stanza wise questions. Yes, Dipin, beta, whatever kind of exams will be having, the instructions will reach you soon. Fine. So when I'm teaching, kindly don't ask any queries or questions at this time. Fine, beta. Whatever instructions will be given to you, that will reach you accordingly. So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Now in this poem, Adrienne Rich is the poetess of this poem. She has written as a feminist. I told you already, a feminist is a person who writes in favor of women. It doesn't mean that person is against men. Fine. The person who supports all the rights of women equally in this society, then we say that the person is feminist. Even a male person can be a feminist. Feminist doesn't mean that only a woman or a female can be a feminist. Feminist can be a boy also, a man also, a woman also, a girl also. Fine, accordingly. So it's about the notion one has. Clear? So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, it is a symbolic poem, metaphorical poem, in which tigers are symbolic of male chauvinism. Now, I did not discuss this term yesterday with you all because I wanted to make it very easier. When I say male dominance, then you're able to understand, okay, man is having the upper hand in that way. So male chauvinistic society, male chauvinism, one of the themes of this poem, male chauvinistic society is that in which male members are given more importance, fine, they are considered on priority basis, women are secondary in such kind of society, right? So male chauvinistic society, or you can say patriarchal society, in which a rigid system is followed, fine, both male and women, you can say male and female and men and women, they do not get equal rights. Fine. On the basis of gender, there is discrimination. So gender discrimination, you can say, is there on the basis of sex and male, female. And then there is male chauvinism that we call male chauvinistic society. Clear? Then in this poem, tigers are also used as symbols. Tigers are symbolic of, I told you yesterday only. So now I would be asking those who attended my class. Let me ask. Few students are there only, those who listen very carefully, I must say. Okay, Amarpreet, unmute yourself, beta. Amarpreet. Tigers are symbolic of, yes, Amarpreet. Yes, male dominance. Yes, beta, when I ask you to unmute, people start sending me messages. Suhani is saying male dominance. Others are also saying male dominance. Fine. So you can unmute when I ask you so, rather than sending messages. Clear? So tigers are symbolic of male dominance. Tigers are the animals who are considered free-spirited animals, who are known for their confidence, valor, bravery, fine, and with sleek movement, elegant movement. So that's why they have chosen tigers only. They have not chosen any other animal because it is not apt as per the requirement of the poem. So Adrienne Rich, the poet, has not chosen any other animal but tigers. Tigers are known for their, you can say, confidence, the you can say proud attitude. So such kind of features which we can even attribute to male members of the society. Clear? Then uh, the name of the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Actually, here they have mentioned two things. I have written over there: male chauvinism and constraints of married life. You can see on the board the theme. First theme is male chauvinism, that is male dominist. You can say dominance of male in the society. And second one is constraints of married life. So Aunt Jennifer is that example in front of us who has had very bad experiences in her marital life. She is not at all happy. Throughout her life, she has faced discrimination. She was suppressed under the burden of marital responsibilities. Right? So she has faced a lot, you must say. So two themes keeping in mind: gender discrimination or male chauvinism, or and we can say constraints of married life that women have to face a lot, especially the married women. They are having a lot of responsibilities, and even then they're not able to lead their life properly. And then one day they die under the burden of those responsibilities. So Aunt Jennifer is representing all the women of the society. So that's why I call a symbolic poem it is. Clear? Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Now, coming back to the stanza-wise explanation, beta. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, they jump across a screen. Let me share the screen with you all. You might be having books also. Last chapter of your book is this poem. Clear? So, in the first stanza, again, I'm going to give the gist. In first stanza, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers jump across a screen. Word meanings we have done yesterday. Prance means jump over. Screen can be considered as a wall in this connotation of this poem. So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, they jump over a screen, jump upon a screen. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Bright topaz. Topaz is a stone, beta, which is very bright yellow in color. Bright yellow topaz is a stone. Denizens are dwellers or residents. Denizens are dwellers. World of green here means forest. So they say Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, they jump across a screen and they jump over a screen, and they are very bright yellow in color, just like the topaz stone. So which poetic device is used here? Beta, metaphor is used. Bright topaz. So they are not saying that they are like bright topaz. They are directly calling the tigers topaz. They're comparing it directly by calling them topaz. So that's why metaphor is used here. You must know all the poetic devices. Side by side, I'll be telling that also. So bright topaz is metaphor here. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, they jump across a screen and they are very bright and yellow. The color of the tigers is quite bright yellow, just like the topaz stone. They are dwellers of a world of green. They are dwellers of forest. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. The tigers of Aunt Jennifer, they are not at all scared. They are not at all afraid of human beings standing under the tree. They pace. Pace means they move, the movement. They move in sleek. Sleek is very elegant. Chivalric is very brave and confident. Certainty is again with confidence. So the movement of the tigers is very elegant, confident, and certain. Fine. So in the first stanza, poet Adrian Rich tells us that Aunt Jennifer's tigers, they jump across a screen. They are very bright colored, yellow colored just like the topaz, and they are dwellers of forest. They are not at all afraid of any human being standing under the tree, and the movement is very elegant, brave, and confident. There they have introduced the tigers to us. There, this is the literal meaning of this poem. But actually, poet is trying to say that male members of the society, they are very you can say free spirited human beings. They can do whatever they want as compared to women. Men are having more rights, they are given more importance in our society. They are not at all having afraid of anything. The movement means the way they carry themselves is quite confident as compared to women. Women are not being given equal rights till date. Yeah, this is the metaphorical meaning. Then we have second stanza, Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. Firstly, underline which poetic device is used here. Fingers fluttering is alliteration. When one sound is repeated, F sound is repeated here, fingers fluttering, then alliteration is used here. Aunt Jennifer, she is weaving a pattern of tigers with wool. She's carrying the wool in her hand and she's weaving a pattern of tigers. They're saying Aunt Jennifer's fingers are trembling, or you can say the movement of fingers is not effortless. Otherwise, when a person weaves a pattern, it's quite easy. They keep on weaving comfortably, freely. But the movement of fingers of Aunt Jennifer, it is not effortless. She is facing difficulty in even pulling that light weighted ivory needle. Ivory is the silver color. Needle, you know that, with which we sew the things. So they say Aunt Jennifer's fingers are trembling, shaking through the wool. She's weaving a pattern of tigers, but she's feeling very difficult to pull the ivory needle also. Why she's facing difficulty in doing very easy work? Why is the reason is she is already pressurized. She is suppressed under the burden of marital responsibilities. She has faced very harsh life, right? Next two lines will tell us about that. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So the weight of uncle's wedding band is wedding ring. During the wedding, people exchange rings. So that is actually symbolic of, now here wedding band is also used as symbol. It's symbolic. Wedding band is symbolic of marital responsibilities. They're saying the wedding band is, otherwise it's very light, you can say, in weight, but they're saying the massive, the huge, the big weight of uncle's wedding band. Why they're saying it's massive? Because with the band comes a lot of responsibilities. Clear? So sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So Aunt Jennifer is having huge responsibilities. Fine. Sorry. She's stuck under the heavy weight of those burdens and responsibilities. So that's why the uncle's wedding band is considered heavier for her. Clear, beta? The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. It's not the just wedding band. It is band is symbolic of responsibilities. She's stuck under it. She's suppressed under it. A lot of responsibilities are there. A lot of problems she's facing. A lot of ordeals, difficult situations she has faced in her life. Clear? Third stanza says, when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Even when Aunt Jennifer will be dead, her terrified hands, this is imagery actually they have used here, terrified hands. Terrified hands are symbolic of, again, uh, the kind of hardships and responsibilities she has performed when she was alive. They are saying even after the death of Aunt Jennifer, she would not be able to get rid of those responsibilities. They are actually evidence that she has faced a lot of ordeals in her life. Ordeals are difficult situations, hardships, and she was mastered by, means she was not at all her own master. She was mastered by her husband. She was mastered by, you can say, she was mastered in the male chauvinistic society. She could not do whatever she wanted, right? So that's why they say terrified hands. will still ring with audience. She was mastered by. So she was mastered by her husband, and even after her death, her hands are not able to get rid of these responsibilities, because when one Aunt Jennifer is dead, rest of the women will keep on facing suppression, will keep on facing this gender discrimination, and they keep on facing the constraints of married life. Both the themes covered here, beta. Clear? The tigers in the panel that she made, last two lines, the tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing proud and unafraid. They're saying that she has weaved a pattern of tigers in the panel. She has carved beautifully the pattern of tigers. And they will keep on jumping. They will keep on prancing proud and unafraid. They are not at all scared of anyone now. Clear? So they want to say that the terrified hands will tell the whole story of her unhappy life. Fine. And even when she is dead, hardships and sufferings were the parts of her life. And all these responsibilities and constraints actually crushed her to death. She was in the grip of very tough life. Fine. And but the tigers she has made in the panel, they will keep on jumping. They will not stop. Even after her death, they keep on jumping and prancing proud and unafraid. Means that gender discrimination, that constraints of married life, that male chauvinism, it will keep on existing in our society. Tigers prancing or keep on prancing means all the constraints, all the problems will keep on prevailing. There is no solution to this, even when Aunt Jennifer is dead. Clear? Kindly send me thumbs up if the meaning of the poem is clear to all of you. Come on, beta. Yes, most of you. It's clear? Fine. If any problem, if you cannot understand any particular word or any theme, I can repeat now, but don't ask me later on. I'm asking you now. Most of the students have joined, so that's why I'm saying if any problem is there, you can send the text in the chat box, then I will repeat. If any problem is there, beta, you can ask me now, or shall I continue with the stanza wise question? It's clear, right? First question, beta, on first stanza basis, you will be doing. First question is name the poem and the poet. I guess we are running out of time. Let me see. We want people to do question answers. So it's, yes, second period goes till you're having 4 minutes with us. We can do few questions, beta. 4 minutes are very precious. Don't leave the meeting in between, otherwise I'll mark all the students absent who leave even few minutes before. So write down first question, name the poem and the poet. Stanza wise question, beta. Name the poem and the poet on the basis of first stanza. Second question, first question always remains name of the poem and the poet. Clear? Where do Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance? Second question is, where do Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance? Prance means jump. Kindly take note, I'll be seeing the notebooks also, if you have noted down or not. Where do Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance? Yes, beta, you can get MCQs also, you can get subjective answers also, so you should be ready for objective and subjective both. Clear? Where do they prance? Raise your hand, jaldi se. Mehak, unmute yourself, beta, and tell where do the tigers prance? Where do they jump? Mehak Wasan, kindly unmute yourself, beta, and speak. Rather than writing, you can speak directly to me, beta. I don't know why you people start hesitating, unmuting yourself. Gaurav, unmute yourself. Gaurav, unmute. Where do the tigers prance? No response. Only few students are there. When I ask them, they give answer. Even then the chat box, they keep on sending me the answers. Yes, beta. Yes. Those who have sent the answer in the chat box, it's across a screen. It's written over there across a screen. Everything is written in your book only. You just need to see, open your eyes and read and just speak. Second question, it's done. Third is, which poetic device is used in this stanza? Which poetic device is used? Write down which poetic device is used in this stanza. Yes, we have discussed bright Dopa's denizens. You can write the answers in chat box. I'll announce the name of the child along with the answer if you hesitate to unmute yourself or switch on the video. Whatever question I'm asking, yes, Suhani, it's metaphor or example of metaphor. Yes, Saransh, fine, it's metaphor. Fine, I'll be announcing the name of the child along with the answer. So metaphor is used when this question is asked to you, you give the answer that metaphor is used in this stanza. Then you will give the textual evidence also better. Bright topaz. Clear? Bright topaz is the example where metaphor is used. Then next stanza. No, beta. Same stanza. Fourth question. Describe the movement of the tigers. Describe the movement. M-O-V-E. Describe the movement of the tigers. It's in the last line only. Tigers move in sleek, chivalric certainty. They move forward in very elegant and confident manner. Sleek, chivalric certainty. Clear? 4 questions we have done. First stanza. Then we have second stanza. Which poetic device is used in the first line? Yes, keep on writing the answers better. Which poetic device is used in the first line? I'm talking about second stanza. Yes, Saransh. Very good. Alliteration is used here. And example of alliteration is fingers fluttering. F sound is repeated. Whenever you will get such questions, you will highlight the sound also. Fingers fluttering, you will highlight F sound. Clear? And write complete sentences. Right now it's okay, you're writing one word answers, but beta in exam you will be writing complete sentences. Second question of this stanza is, mention the symbols used in this stanza. Mention the symbols used in this stanza. Yes, anybody? Which symbol is used in this stanza? Write me the answer. In second stanza, it's very easy. Which symbol is used in the second stanza? Nobody knows the answer. It's wedding band. Clear? The answer is wedding band is used as symbol of marital responsibilities. You have to tell that. Wedding band is symbolic of constraints of married life, or it is symbolic of marital responsibilities. Clear? Explain sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hands. Explain the. Okay, Hansika, you could write later. I already discussed this answer now. Be quick enough while giving answers. That's why I say unmute and speak, because it takes time. Explain sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. It means the burden of marital responsibility was too much that Aunt Jennifer was crushed under it and she lost her life even. She was suppressed. She had a very harsh life. Sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand means the responsibilities were too much for her that she could not bear it even. Clear? Last stanza. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeal she was mastered by. But I need to discuss so many other questions, so we're running out of time. Third stanza and other long questions and short questions we'll be doing Maybe I can ask to have extra class tomorrow. We will see to it. I will announce in the